What if the reason it's taking so long has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's breaking inside him? What if the silence, the distance, the confusion is not avoidance, but collapse? Because when the divine masculine goes through ego death, it doesn't look like awakening, it looks like loss. If you've been feeling like he's taking forever, if you've questioned whether he even cares, if you've tried to understand why he runs when things get real, then this is the truth no one explains to you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why ego death takes so long, what is actually happening inside him right now, and the one shift that proves he's closer to awakening than ever before. And listen, this is the kind of content we create here, so if your soul led you here, hit subscribe, because the next video might answer what you've been feeling but couldn't explain. Before we go further, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were healing while he was running in the opposite direction? Like you were becoming more aware, more grounded, more aligned, and he was becoming more distant? That's not imbalance. That's timing. Imagine a man named Arjun, strong, confident, logical, in control. He meets someone, and for the first time in his life, he feels something he cannot control. Not attraction, not desire, but exposure. Because she doesn't just see him, she sees through him. At first, he's drawn in, curious, pulled, but then fear starts to rise because everything he built his identity on starts to shake. And here's the truth nobody tells you. The divine masculine doesn't run from you. He runs from what he becomes around you. Ego death is not a moment. It's a process of losing who you thought you were. Drop in the comments if you felt that deeply. Let's break down what's really happening inside him, because ego death is not quick. It's slow, messy, uncomfortable. First, his identity starts cracking. Everything he believed about himself, his strength, his control, his independence, it begins to collapse. Short scenario, he's sitting alone, and for the first time, he questions himself. Not his job, not his choices, but who he is. And that's terrifying. Second, he resists the change. The ego doesn't die easily. It fights, it distracts, it runs. So he throws himself into work, into noise, into anything that helps him avoid feeling. Pause for a second. Have you noticed how he distracts himself instead of facing things? Third, he disconnects emotionally. Not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too much. So he shuts down, pulls away, creates distance, and from the outside, it looks like he doesn't care, but inside, chaos. Fourth, he experiences loss. And this is where ego death deepens, because life starts removing things, comfort, stability, certainty, until he has nothing left to hold on to, except truth. Fifth, he begins to awaken. Slowly, quietly, he starts seeing things differently, understanding patterns, recognizing what he lost. But here's the part most people miss. He doesn't come back immediately, because awareness is not yet transformation. This is the part most people skip. Don't, because this next truth is why it takes so long. Timestamp 16 o'clock. Ego death takes time because it requires surrender. And surrender is the hardest thing for the divine masculine, because he was taught to control, to lead, to suppress, not to feel, not to break, not to fall apart. So when ego death begins, It goes against everything he knows. This might be hard to hear, but the delay is not rejection. It's resistance. And resistance slows everything down. Arjun went through this too. He tried to ignore it, tried to move on, tried to replace the feeling. But nothing worked. Because once the soul awakens, there is no going back. And here's the emotional truth. While you were healing consciously, he was breaking unconsciously. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your sign. We post content like this every week. Your algorithm won't show you unless you subscribe. So what do you do during this phase? You don't rush him. You don't fix him. You don't wait in pain. You focus on your own alignment because your growth is what triggers his. Write this down. I release control. I trust divine timing. Stop checking his actions. Start trusting the process because ego death cannot be forced. It must be lived. And here's what to stop doing. Stop taking his silence personally. Stop assuming he doesn't care. Stop chasing clarity from someone who is still confused. Give space, not as distance, but as allowance. We're almost at the most important part. Here's what happens after ego death. And this is where everything changes. He softens, not immediately, not perfectly, but noticeably. He starts feeling again, deeply. He understands what he lost, what he avoided, what he couldn't face before. And when he finally reaches out, it's different, because now he's aware. Arjun experienced this moment. One day, without planning, without logic, he felt it, clarity. And in that moment, he knew he couldn't run anymore. And this is your final truth. Ego death feels like delay, but it's actually transformation in progress. So if it feels like it's taking forever, if you're tired, if you're questioning everything, take a breath, because something is happening, even if you can't see it yet. And sometimes the longest journeys create the deepest awakenings. Type yes in the comments if you trust this process, or type I release control. And if this resonated with your soul, leave a like and subscribe, because the next video might reveal the exact moment his heart opens.